Atlas's enigmatic companion objects shifted their positions during the incident, arranging themselves into a geometric pattern unlike anything previously observed. Then Atlas unleashed a tightly concentrated energy beam aimed straight at Earth. What followed defied every scientific expectation. There was no advance warning. Multiple observatories simultaneously registered a sudden and extreme surge in Atlas's electromagnetic emissions. For precisely 47 seconds, the object directed an intensely focused beam of coherent energy toward Earth with accuracy that implied intentional targeting rather than accidental release. The beam's strength was so immense that it was detected by numerous space-based telescopes and even activated alerts within military early warning systems designed to identify hostile energy weapons. What makes this event truly disturbing is that the beam did not harmlessly graze Earth or dissipate in the atmosphere. It struck something specific. Ground-based detection stations confirmed the beam made direct contact with a precise location on Earth's surface, a remote area that happens to host one of the most advanced radio telescope arrays on the planet. The instant the beam connected, the entire facility suffered a total systems shutdown. When the beam ceased, after exactly 47 seconds, Atlas's electromagnetic output dropped back to normal levels as though nothing had occurred. Yet Earth's ionosphere remained disrupted for hours afterward. Satellites positioned along the beam's path experienced temporary failures. And most unsettling of all, the targeted radio telescope facility recorded data during those 47 seconds that researchers now describe as impossible. Information embedded within the beam that should not exist, encoded in ways we cannot comprehend. Before we examine what that beam contained and why it was aimed at that exact location, hit like and subscribe. Because what scientists uncovered within that 47-second transmission will fundamentally change how we understand Atlas's intentions. This was not a warning shot. It was not an accident. Given the precision, power, and targeting involved, this was deliberate communication. Atlas compelled us to receive a message, and now we must decipher it. To understand what happened, we need to reconstruct those 47 seconds in detail, because they reveal capabilities that are as astonishing as they are terrifying. At exactly 3:17 a.m. Universal Time, sensors aboard the Solar Dynamics Observatory detected a sharp spike in Atlas's surface temperature. Within just 8 seconds, temperatures rose by more than 5,000 degrees Celsius in a highly localized area. Such rapid energy accumulation demands enormous power systems activating simultaneously. One astrophysicist monitoring the data described it bluntly: power generation comparable to a major nuclear reactor reaching full output in under 10 seconds. Whatever systems Atlas employed to generate the beam can mobilize colossal energy almost instantly. Technology far beyond anything humanity possesses. At 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 8 seconds, the beam activated. It was not a diffuse glow or scattered emission, but a narrow, intensely focused column of electromagnetic radiation spanning multiple wavelengths, from radio waves through visible light and into high-energy ultraviolet. At Atlas's position, the beam measured roughly 500 meters wide, yet remained tightly concentrated, spreading very little across the 4 million miles to Earth. That level of focus is extraordinary. Light naturally disperses over distance. Maintaining such concentration across millions of miles requires optical or field generation technologies we can barely theorize about. Atlas effectively produced a laser pointer capable of striking targets across interplanetary space. Ground-based observatories tracking Atlas captured the instant of emission. The footage shows a brilliant point erupting from the object, followed by a visible line stretching toward Earth like a searchlight slicing through cosmic darkness. Amateur astronomers with sensitive equipment observed the same phenomenon from different locations. One described it as surreal. You could actually see the beam extending from Atlas toward Earth, not reflected off dust or atmosphere, but visible within space itself. Whatever wavelengths comprised the beam were interacting with something in the vacuum between Atlas and Earth to generate visible light. For 41 seconds, the beam held a constant intensity. Then it pulsed 3 times in rapid succession, bright, dim, bright, dim, bright, before shutting off completely at 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 55 seconds. Those pulses were not random. They were intentional modulation, like coded flashes from a signal lamp. During the full 47 seconds, every telescope focused on Atlas-recorded abnormal activity. Multiple bright points appeared on Atlas's surface around the main emission site, indicating auxiliary systems or targeting mechanisms. The beam's trajectory was calculated with extraordinary precision. It did not simply aim at Earth broadly. It struck a specific ground location, implying Atlas knew exactly where that facility was and selected it deliberately. The beam impacted the Arecibo Observatory Replacement Facility in Puerto Rico, one of Earth's most powerful radio telescope installations and, critically, one of the primary sites attempting to communicate with Atlas. The facility's instruments detected the incoming beam approximately 0.7 seconds before impact, barely enough time for automated safety systems to engage and nowhere near enough to stop what followed. When the beam made contact, every electronic system at the facility overloaded simultaneously. An engineer later described the chaos. All circuit breakers tripped at once, computer systems crashed, data storage arrays went offline, even backup power systems failed. It resembled the aftermath of a massive electromagnetic pulse weapon, except this strike was precise, controlled, and caused no lasting damage. Within minutes of the beam ending, all systems returned online. But during those 47 seconds, while the facility was effectively offline, something extraordinary occurred. Despite being powered down, the recording systems somehow captured data. When engineers examined the systems after power was restored, they discovered roughly 3.2 gigabytes of information stored on drives that should have been completely non-functional during the event. A data recovery specialist explained the impossibility. The drives had no power and no write capability, yet they contained data time-stamped exactly to the 47-second beam interval. The information appeared to be written directly into the storage medium at a quantum level, bypassing every known recording process. No human technology can do this. The data itself was unlike anything previously encountered. The files were not in any recognizable format. No known computer protocols, no standard encoding, nothing existing software could open or interpret. Yet the information was clearly structured, displaying organization and hierarchy that indicated intentional design. And then came an even more unsettling discovery. Satellite tracking revealed that the beam did not strike only the main telescope dish. During those same 47 seconds, it also illuminated 3 additional locations: a radio telescope array in China, a deep space tracking station in Australia, and the European Space Agency's communications facility in Spain. All 4 sites experienced simultaneous system disruptions. All 4 discovered unexplained data afterward. Atlas did not target a single location. It struck 4 major radio telescope facilities on 4 continents in one event. Either the beam split to hit multiple targets at once, or Atlas fired multiple beams in such rapid succession they appeared as a single emission. Either scenario demonstrates technology far beyond our comprehension. An electromagnetic weapons specialist reviewing the data made a chilling assessment. This was a demonstration of power. Atlas showed it can precisely target facilities anywhere on Earth, inject payloads directly into computer systems regardless of defenses, and disable technology at will. Whether the intent was communication or intimidation, the capability is undeniable. Analysis of the mysterious data challenges our understanding of physics, information theory, and interstellar communication itself. Across all 4 facilities, the total data volume is approximately 12.8 gigabytes, roughly equivalent to 20 hours of high-definition video or 200,000 pages of text, delivered in just 47 seconds using a method that bypassed normal recording systems entirely. But volume is the least puzzling aspect. Structure is what confounds researchers. No known compression algorithms recognize usable patterns. The data refuses to decompress using any established protocols. It is clearly not random. Statistical analysis reveals unmistakable organization. A quantum computing specialist analyzing the structure made a remarkable discovery. The data appears encoded in more than 2 states. Human computing relies on binary, ones and zeros. This data shows evidence of at least 8 distinct states, possibly more, resembling quantum information storage where data exists in superposition until observed. We have no systems capable of reading information stored this way. Some portions of the data are self-referential, containing information about their own structure, almost like instructions for decoding the rest. Research teams are using these segments as a kind of Rosetta Stone in hopes of unlocking the larger dataset. Pattern recognition efforts yielded another breakthrough. Researchers identified repeating sequences that align with known astronomical phenomena, pulsar timings, stellar positions, gravitational wave signatures. It appears part of the data establishes a shared frame of reference based on observable features of the universe. Another section seems to contain mathematical proofs. The equations are valid, but the solution methods are unfamiliar, alien yet compatible with human mathematics, implying alternative frameworks we have never explored. Most intriguing are segments that appear visual, though not encoded as conventional images. Attempts to reconstruct them as standard visuals produced fragmented nonsense. But when treated as multidimensional data projections, coherent patterns emerge, structures resembling 3-dimensional models rotating through higher spatial dimensions. One researcher described it as viewing shadows of objects existing in 4 or 5-dimensional space. We perceive projections, but the true forms exist beyond our dimensional experience. The implications are profound. If Atlas operates using higher dimensional physics, it could explain abilities that appear impossible to us: faster-than-light communication, energy systems that defy conservation laws, propulsion unconstrained by momentum. Atlas is not breaking physics. It is using physics that includes dimensions we barely access. The choice of targets reveals strategic awareness. These are not random facilities. They represent Earth's primary deep space communication infrastructure. The systems used to contact distant spacecraft, search for extraterrestrial signals, and track objects in the outer solar system. Atlas selected the very sites attempting to communicate with it. A telecommunications security analyst summarized the implications. Atlas understands our communication network, identified the sites trying to make contact, and demonstrated it can reach them directly, disable them temporarily, and deliver information on its own terms. That is both a statement of capability and a declaration of control. Such precision requires detailed knowledge of Earth's geography and electromagnetic landscape. Atlas mapped the planet well enough to isolate individual facilities among billions of electronic sources. That level of intelligence suggests prolonged observation, weeks or months of systematic analysis, not casual scanning. Each facility reported identical effects: total system overload, complete loss of function, followed by rapid recovery with no permanent damage. The consistency implies carefully calibrated power levels, chosen to disable without destruction. Atlas demonstrated restraint. One facility director called the experience deeply unsettling. Within seconds, every system failed. There were no defenses, no control, no way to stop it. Then, just as abruptly, everything returned to normal. It was absolute dominance paired with restraint, reassuring and terrifying at the same time. The Chinese facility reported something additional. One operator claimed to hear audio through speakers that had no power, distorted, vaguely resembling human speech, as if something were attempting verbal communication through unsuitable equipment. The sound was not recorded, but the operator insists it occurred. If true, it suggests Atlas understands that human communication includes audio and attempted multiple transmission channels simultaneously. The beam event was not merely data transmission. It was a calculated display of capability that has forced military analysts worldwide to reconsider threat models. The energy required to sustain the beam for 47 seconds across 4 million miles is immense. Conservative estimates place Atlas's output at least at 10 to the 18th power watts, roughly equal to humanity's total daily power consumption released in under a minute. A nuclear engineer reviewing the data stated plainly, "No human reactor or laser system can approach that output, let alone sustain it over such distances." Atlas demonstrated energy generation and projection beyond anything in our arsenal. The focusing precision is equally staggering. Maintaining coherence over interplanetary distances demands lensing or field control technologies we cannot replicate. Atlas effectively wielded a surgically precise interplanetary laser. Defense analysts view this capability as strategically transformative. A leaked briefing described the beam event as proof of overwhelming technological superiority that renders conventional defenses obsolete. If Atlas can disable specific facilities from its current position, then communication centers, power grids, military bases, satellites, everything is theoretically vulnerable. There is no known defense. The beam also showed fine modulation control. The 3 closing pulses differed slightly in wavelength, indicating precise adjustment of frequency, intensity, and focus. Even more concerning, the beam activated with almost no warning. Atlas transitioned from normal operation to full power in 8 seconds. By the time detection systems registered the anomaly, the beam was already striking Earth. An early warning specialist compared it to missile defense. "We get minutes of warning for missiles. Atlas gave 8 seconds for a light speed